Well, so here's the thing. So in this next segment, we've got 2 more segments to go. This one's gonna be kind of short, but I just kind of the subject of the week for us, kind of roundtable on all of us. Man, Martinsville is a perfect time to have this discussion, right? And part of it comes to reputation. The other part just comes to common courtesy sometimes, even when tempers flare. And so, short track racing, especially at Martinsville, man, there's a lot of, bumper to bumper stuff, guys banging around on each other, that kind of stuff. And a lot of wrecks happening on the race. And sometimes we get caught up as collateral damage. Sometimes it happens to us. But just, something that's bothered me for the longest time, especially since I decided I was not going to be part of the problem anymore, is just some of the conversations and the heated discussions and stuff that happens on the radio and the races. And, I want to talk about my experience. So not necessarily the league race. That I just had fun on the radio. I didn't care. We were cutting up and some guys were getting mad, but it didn't really bother me. But I was in an open race last night. And, I was getting banged around a little bit, but I was pretty chill. And then, towards the end of the race, there's this contact that happened, and Brian watched it, and he was like, "I don't know what the problem was, Mike." And this guy gets on there and just starts cussing me out, calling me all. It was bad. I mean, I've seen the clip. Probably I don't try to be the language police, but if it gets ridiculous, sometimes I do protest that because I just don't want to hear that kind of stuff. But anyway, and I just shut up. I mean, that's the quickest way to get me not to respond to somebody on the radio is somebody start cussing me. I don't want to hear it in real life. I definitely don't want to hear it on the radio. I'm not going to respond to it. I'm not going to start getting an argument with somebody who's so mad that they're screaming, yelling, cussing and stuff. And so anyway, I've noticed that, especially here at Martinsville. I try to do my part and stay calm. I used to be quick to blame people on the radio. If somebody get into me, I just assumed it was their fault and start getting on them and stuff. And Lamb pretty much told me to stop doing that when I raced for him. He's like, "Mike, can't you race and pay to win and be on the radio saying that kind of stuff." And Tracy's been on me a bunch about it. And so I kind of try to, anymore I'll be like, "Hey, if I did something, I have no problem apologizing. Let's just kind of chill. And I'm sorry that we got into each other. Let's just kind of take a look at it after the race and see what happened." Because when you're in the cockpit, you really can't. It's hard to actually know what happened. We know what we think happened based off what we're seeing in the cockpit, but you don't really know what happened sometimes.
It's never my fault when I'm looking in the cockpit. Never my fault.
After the race. So,
yeah, exactly.
Thoughts on this? People have different thoughts about this subject, and I was kind of wanting to go around and get everybody's thoughts on it.
I will be the first person who calls someone out on the radio, but I'll also be the first person to apologize when I made a mistake. That goes back to that inward reflection thing I was talking about. Most people, they just blame everybody else. And even when they make a mistake and they know it, they don't say a word because they hope they can fly under the radar. I will blame you just as fast as I'll blame myself. And then I also like to have fun with people in the chat. Like, I'm not sure if y'all had iRacing communication up during the live stream, but it got so bad.
We did.
I have a hot keyboard over here beside me that's easy for me to
and you kept hitting that noise. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it just comes down to that. I like to have sorry, it won't stop. There we go. But I like to have fun with it. I mean, I try not to say anything on the radio, but sometimes you just got to say something to some people. And you try to offer advice to somebody. Like, I'll see a lower I rating guy struggling, and I'm like, "Hey man, you're doing this wrong. You need to work on your line. You're going a little too deep, yada, yada, yada. I'm not driving you're driving your car. You're not driving mine. Shut up and go about your race." I'm like, dude, I'm trying to help you.
Yeah. So that's
I just don't understand.
Yeah, that's one subject I want, because there's multiple aspects to this. So that's one aspect. So there's some guys that legit try to help, and I've done that before. Like I can repeat the same experiences you've had. I've had some times where guys have embraced it and gotten better from it and stuff. And I've had other times, well, probably the majority of the time, where guys say exactly what they said to you. And that really makes some people want to help again. I mean, I bet when you see that guy again, you really want to help him again, don't you? I mean,
it makes me want to drive through him and never finish another race. I took the precious time, the breath God has given me to offer my assistance to you, and you want to be a butthole about it. Like, there's no
obviously
reason.
You figured out something that he hasn't, obviously. I mean,
Like, I would have killed when I was getting lapped by Boyd Hogan when I first started, because he started after me when Ice was racing against him in 2020 and he was lapping me. I would have killed if he told me what I was doing wrong at Las Vegas. And
Right.
I mean, I'm of that mentality. If you can help somebody, try to, but once they shut you down, never help them again.
Right. What's the point? Yeah.
Exactly. They're just going to reject it.
What about the rest of you guys? Brian, what are your thoughts on this subject?
I think there's one of my opinions on it. I think you're better to wait till the race is over and really look at the replays and see what happens before you run your mouth, because I've made an ass out of myself several times thinking that something wasn't my fault when it actually was my fault. And if other people are having some bickering issues on the radio or who caused a wreck, I think it's best just to stay out of that until, if you want to watch the replay after the race, because you really don't know what happened sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm with you. So that's a whole other topic there. So that's another one. Guys start piling in on something they don't even have a clue about.
But kind of just pile up on somebody when they don't even know what happened.
Yeah. I think that people should just not comment if they didn't see it. Like now, if somebody's right behind it and saw the whole thing,
right,
and they have a clear perspective and they want to try to offer their if guys are fussing about what happened, the guy chimes in, well, I was right behind you guys and I saw the whole thing. Kind of here's what happened. That's one thing. But go ahead. Last thing is, it doesn't matter. That what I can't stand is somebody hopping in and piling on. It says, well, 2 races ago, this guy did this to me, man. He blah, 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 blah. Who cares what happened 2 races ago? That these guys are talking about what just happened. Right. So I'm with you. I think if you didn't see it and you don't have direct information, just stay out of it.
This morning, the one car, I'm not going to mention his name, but he, messed up his qualifying lap, and I said, man, I bet you wish he qualified. He'd got in an accident. Well, him and the 9 car kind of gotten into it, and he was telling what happened. And I didn't say much about it or anything, but I ended up pitting and coming back out, and I seen them 2 at it again. And I mean, it was pretty obvious. He just went up and thumped the 9 car after that. Ended up messing up his race too, but I didn't say anything, and the 9 car didn't say anything either. I know sometimes drivers get a little impatient, especially the high car, numbers. I think sometimes they just expect you to lay over, and I kind of felt like that was the situation there, but I just kept my mouth shut and drove my race and went on with it. But I think, like I said, most of the time you're better off just to stay out of it.
Now, here's the thing I have about the radio. Like, we try to all be friendly with each other. Like AJ Allmendinger said, we're not all really friends at all. We try to be cordial to each other when we're racing. When we're out of the simulator race car, we can be friends and we can be friendly. But when we're racing against each other, it's a totally different mentality. Well, it's Martinsville. There's cautions. It's monotonous to just pace around for an hour and a half. So that race I was talking about earlier where I went 4 laps down, I was joking around with Matty Clark, and I was like, hey, why don't you just pull over right here and let me go around the pace car 4 times? And, just bannering. I had a dude threaten to protest me for trying to alter the outcome of a race when I was just messing with Matt.
Oh
my Lord. Some people, I understand the radio is supposed to be for in race, but we're messing around.
You're trying to kill time, Yeah,
that just goes back to that thing about, if you don't know what you're talking about, just stay out of it. Yeah. He didn't do anything but make himself the laughing stock of that race, because everybody except him know me and Matt and know we were just messing around.
Yeah. It's just Robert, what do you, I know you got tons of opinions. What's your opinion on this?
I am never wrong. I am never wrong. And when a wreck happens, it's never my fault. And I'll blame and cuss the first person that hits me. I mean, even though I might have slid into him after the replay, and I'm the one that drifted up, or I'm the one that drove in too hard. But it's never my fault. Never.
And don't hit you as part of collateral damage. I mean, right. The funniest thing that before me and you're on the same team, the funniest thing, we've talked about this several times, but the funniest thing ever that happened that I thought just was hilarious was when we were at Texas and there's that big pile up, and I ended up hitting you because I was coming around, there's already a pile up, like I had nowhere to go. I ended up hitting you and you're like, Mike, and you're all mad. And I was like, Robert, I didn't even cause that wreck. And you're like, you had to have seen the smoke. Hit your brakes. It was hilarious.
He hits me.
Robert is the troll of the Be Open voice communications. Like you said earlier, he is the funniest man to listen to. It is hilarious.
Oh yeah, you should try being in Discord with him in these races. I laugh.
Oh,
all
I
the
can
time.
imagine.
It's
I can
hilarious.
imagine. I probably wouldn't be able to drive straight. I'd be laughing so hard.
Yeah, I'm out here to have. I'm out to try to do my best. I'm not no way near where you are, Tommy, but I'm out here to, if I can get a top 5, that's great. But I'm out here to have fun. This is what I do now for my life. I'm retired and I just race. That's it.
Yeah. I remember the first time I ever raced with you in a B Open. It was back 2020. You probably don't remember it, but I have like a photographic memory for some things. You were still running that same Wrangler car.
Still,
yeah.
But you had a VRS logo on it, and I about crapped my pants. Sorry, I had to catch myself there. I about crapped my pants because I was like, oh my Lord, this dude's on slip angle. He's about to walk me. So, I mean, it don't really add nothing to the conversation, but it's just funny to me. Every time I see that car, I think about it.
Yeah. Well, so about that paint job, he won't let you touch. Well, he let me touch it, but you can't remove any of the Wrangler stuff. So if you could add a couple things here, like he added the VRS, well, he let me take the VRS off. We put our little alien head there, the alien factory thing on the back, but he is touchy about that, right, Robert? You can't mess with the original Wrangler paint though.
In black and yellow.
Add to it.
I got one question. Robert, do you wear Wrangler pants, Wrangler jeans? Are you that devoted to Wrangler?
Well, they're cheap. They're very expensive, cheaper than Levi's.
Oh, Levi! Don't even get me started on Levi's. They did the state of Tennessee dirty.
Oh my goodness!
I'm very anti Levi's.
So I'm going to let the Admiral have the last word on this subject. The Admiral, what do you think about this whole thing?
Mute. That's my key deal. Mute. If you race with me and you talk, I will never know it unless somebody else tells me, because I mute all the drivers. I don't want to hear it. Other than maybe my spotter in my ear, and that's it. That's how I drive. Even in Discord, I'll jump into a race room and be by myself because I don't want to be in the group chat while I'm trying to drive. It's just, it's not a school bus that I'm running here. So, but and how it all led to that was it's toxic. There's no doubt about that. The radio's toxic. There isn't anybody that has anything nice to say. It's all sarcasm, and everybody's degrading. I mean, there's no fun. I mean, hardly ever, right? So It just got to a point, especially when we were with Overclock, you just can't be distracted by that type of stuff. So I just choose to hit mute. And if you want to send me hate mail through the chat, I'm good with that because I got it turned off too. And then and then at the end of the race, we'll deal with it. If you're still there, we'll deal with it. But during the race, don't bother me. I could care less what happens. Like I always say, it's mind over matter. I don't mind and you don't matter.
Oh, you're missing out on a lot of fun out there with the chat.
Robert's trolling everybody.
It is so funny sometimes. It is, as long as they're not putting down somebody really bad, just having some good times out there and have cracking jokes, that is great. But when you start putting down somebody, there's a limit to where you need to stop.
And I found, this is kind of where I want to leave my thoughts, is I found that like I can't win for losing. I mean, what stuff Tommy and I were talking about earlier in the podcast, once you hurt your reputation, whether it's on the track or like whatever, and you're trying to gain it back, and you're doing that hard work, trying to do it, and you're trying to win over people, like, or at least not win them over, but at least get them off your case one at a time, that you can't win for losing on the radio. I mean, if you say you're sorry, it's, well, you've done it so much, or you've done this or that, like, it doesn't matter if you're sorry, just stop or so they won't take an apology. So you try to apologize and somebody won't accept that. Then you try to talk it out, and then they're like, well, no, it's your fault because you're just a bad driver, so you don't win there. So then I just have stopped responding until after the race, like Tracy says, and you just work it out after the race. Well, then it's like you don't have a mic, it's like you won't even say anything. You're just such a jerk because you won't even respond. So like the point is I found on the radio you can't win for losing. So I get in there and hang out, and I'll make a funny comment to Tommy like he was making to Maddie, like I'll use it for that. But once people start to get stupid on it, I just do what Tracy does, and I'm out. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. That's
the smartest thing I ever did when it comes to radio is I bound my text button on my keyboard to my ignition on my button box. So if I click text, it shuts off my car, so I cannot text in race. That is the smartest thing I have ever done.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed this short clip from our Alien Factory podcast. Be sure to check us out every Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern time here on our YouTube channel. That is youtube.com/Area 51 Alien Factory. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you have not subscribed yet. We really appreciate your subscription to the channel. Also, if you really want to help the channel out, the best thing you can do is share this video anywhere you can, on Facebook, on Twitter, Discord, anywhere that you can share the video. We'd appreciate it. That's really going to help our channel out. Also, get down to the bottom and you can check out the description below. There's some promo codes and affiliate links down there and different things down in the description. So don't forget to get on and check that out. And if you would like to get notified anytime that we go live with either our podcast, live streaming races, or when we upload any of our great on-demand content series here on the channel, just hit that bell icon down below and you will get notified anytime that new content comes up on the channel. We appreciate you sticking with us this video. And as always, we will see you in the next one.